you want to prove that you're the best sailor in the world, you have to do the match race tour.
The goal is the World Championship. We're always very aware of what's it going to take to win the World Championship.
New year, new season, we have 5 championship events.
The tour is growing.
This is still truly about the best sailing team. I don't think there's any other tour in the world that is just about the sailors.
The 2025 World Match Racing Tour season kicks off with the Macao Match Cup, and 12 world-class match racing teams are here for the inaugural event in magical Macau, with $100,000 in U.S. prize money at stake. Based in the heart of the seafront, there's a lot of excitement around the opening event, as it's also the 25th anniversary of the World Match Racing Tour, which was founded in 2000. Through the years, however, no one has won more titles than Britain's Ian Williams, who recently won his 8th World Match Racing Tour Championship, and he's looking forward to defending the crown again.
Yeah, of course, incredibly proud to have got to 8 World Match Racing Tour wins. I think it's fair to say when we started out on the World Match Racing Tour, I couldn't have imagined getting to 8 World Championship wins. You just trying to get the first one at that time, and that was obviously a huge thing for me. And then honestly, it's just rolled on. Kept plugging away. We got to 6 and then struggled to get past 6. But then in 23, we felt like we had a really good chance in Shenzhen, and the tricky conditions I think suit us. And obviously super happy to have got that 7th in 2023. And then again, just rolling on and knowing we're going to the same venue in the same boats, winner takes all regatta, a lot of experience, same team, and so we went there to win, and obviously it was fantastic to get that over the line and get the 8th World Championship win.
Also, here's America's Chris Poole, who is ranked #1 in the Open World Match Race rankings, and he and his Riptide Racing team are desperately keen to claim their first World Championship title.
Riptide's goal is to compete on the full season. It's great, we had a really consistent season. We finished on top of the World Match Racing Tour leaderboard, and we were the overall champions, so I'm really happy with that. To win the first 2 events was awesome. We have some new people on the boat that are all capable of hanging with all these teams. We're really happy with how everything's trending, and it's really just kind of getting in sync.
The 12 skippers and crew, the event sponsors and officials all gather for the welcome speeches to recognize both the start of the event and the 2025 World Tour here in Macau. And everyone is looking forward to a week of top-class competition. The race area is next to a busy shipping entrance in the port area, where this new fleet of Far East 28 yachts are ready for action on the first day of the event. But everyone is also wary of the conditions out on the race course.
This is day 1 of Macao Match Cup. We're quite excited. The venue is amazing. We're racing inside Macau. The skyscrapers are right on top of the race course. It's gonna be tricky because we're outside over there where it's a bit shallow, and there's also a channel with a lot of ships going through.
Seems like the breeze lines up quite well with the channel, and so yeah, it was quite shifty, but not the extreme shiftiness we saw in Shenzhen. Still plenty of skyscrapers around. With the style of racing we're doing, we don't have any navigational aids, and so I think it's more on the race committee to set the course in an area where we can sail, and so it'll be an interesting race course.
Chris Poole is the top seed here, with Italy's Rocco Attili ranked at #2, while 3rd is Nick Egnott-Johnson from New Zealand, with Gavin Brady 4th and Williams presently ranked 6th. The reigning women's World Match Racing champion is France's Pauline Courtois, here with some exciting young French teams and plenty of new talent on the tour this year. As racing progresses through the first day of the round-robin competition in light winds, Brady and Foucher both start well with wins in 3 matches, while others are still acclimatizing.
It's really good to have a new venue on the tour. We are really happy to be here, and we think it's a crazy win, but it's interesting for match racing with a lot of rebondissement. But yeah, we are really happy to be here.
Courtois scores 3 wins in 5 matches, but it proves a testing day for many in this new venue on the World Tour.
Yeah, we've just finished day 1 here at Macau. We had a really fun day on the water, finishing with a 4-1 record. The guys are doing a great job of picking some shifts and keeping the boat going fast, and I think that's what it's going to take. We're quite happy with the light winds when it's nice and light and shifty, so yeah, if it stays like this all week, we'll be pretty happy.
But Ian Williams and his team are in outstanding form and setting the benchmark in winning all 5 of their matches sailed on day 1, and is already in contention for a place in the quarterfinal stage.
Yeah, well, I think it was really interesting racing out there. There were a lot of passing lanes. I think in that strength of wind, there always are passing lanes in these boats, and so it is really a case of just keeping it close and waiting for your opportunity. And we feel strong, and obviously great to get 5 wins. There were a lot of close races. We were behind in a lot of them, so really pleased to have come out ahead in the end.
However, with the round-robin format, not all teams raced 5 times today, though it was a superb test for everyone to know what they need to do in the remaining 2 qualifying days against the other teams, with just the top 8 progressing to the next round of the event. Straight into day 2, with the 2 experienced U.S. teams of Poole and Brady facing off, and the penalty flags are soon flying in the pre-start, with a yellow against Poole. He tries to carve out the room to clear his 360-degree penalty turn on the finish line. It's close, but Brady and his crew know what to do. Less than a second in it, and incredibly, Brady powers through to take the win.
When you try to do a sharp turn, the boat just slides sideways and stops. So that's what happened to Chris at the finish. He probably on a normal boat, he had room to do a penalty, but not on these boats.
Brady goes on to win a further 3 matches today and is unbeaten, but so does Williams and his crew, who are looking unstoppable with 3 from 3, leaving these 2 tied in first place with 8 wins, and now sure to advance to the quarterfinals, as is Nick Egnott-Johnson with 7 wins. Moving on to day 3, and for most of the teams, it's all about survival at the Macao Match Cup, as the conditions prove testing. With winds gusting up to 20 knots, the handling of these Far East 28 yachts is certainly exciting for the crew now. Pauline Courtois from France is fired up through her final matches, winning 2 and moving on to 6 points, securing her and her team's place in the next round. Ian Williams' team continue their form in a feisty match with the USA's Gavin Brady as the top 2 trade blows, the Brits inflicting Brady's first defeat of the event. Meanwhile, Chris Poole struggles to find the winning formula and is facing elimination after losing his match 10 to Williams, but snatches his very last chance to secure a point and stay in the competition with a hard-fought victory over second seed Rocco Attili from Italy. But it's not been the best of days in the office for the Americans.
Currently we were sitting on 4-4 coming into today, so not where we would want to be, but still in the fight to get through to the next stage of knockouts. We stuck to our plan, and we felt this was our best day so far of the event, even though the results weren't there, and we got enough wins to get through, so we're pretty happy.
It's an outstanding 100% win record for Ian Williams, with Gavin Brady suffering just that 1 defeat. Nick Egnott-Johnson scores 9 wins, and what a result for the women's world #1 Pauline Courtois, finishing 4th. Top seed and world #1 Chris Poole survives to fight again in 7th, and also making the cut are Rocco Attili from Italy, Maxime Mesnil from France, and Max Paul from Australia, who secures that coveted 8th place to stay in the event. With glorious weather, the 12 skippers are invited for a special photo opportunity. The lotus is the city flower of Macau, and the famous Golden Lotus statue, created in 1999, is joined by the magnificent World Match Racing Tour trophy to create a photo that is shared throughout the world. It's quarterfinal day at the Macao Match Cup, with just 8 teams left in the contest after the round-robin series, and the conditions look to be ideal for top-class competition. After the 4 pairings were selected yesterday, top-place finisher Ian Williams chose Max Paul from Australia. Gavin Brady opted for Maxime Maisnil from France, and Nick Egnoch-Johnson picked Italy's Rocco Attili, thus leaving Pauline Courtois against Chris Poole. With the breeze around 10 to 15 knots, boat handling is testing in Ni's Far East 28s, and in the first quarterfinal match, the Kiwi team of Nick Egnoch-Johnson looks to be in control against Italy's Rocco Attili as he outmaneuvers them in the pre-start to gain the lead and take the first point on the scoreboard. But in match 2, there's a huge collision between them at the pre-start as they both look for an advantage, and the Italians are penalized. They can't find a way back into the match, and they quickly wrap up their third match, and yet more penalties inflicted on the Italians, and cross to win the match, securing their place in the semifinals. The second pairing sees 2 match racing world number 1s head-to-head again, with Courtois against Poole, and the first win goes to the French team. Poole recovers to win match 2, and their third match sees Poole take the lead and go 2-1 up, leaving Pauline and her crew with a must-win 4th match. But it's not to be, as Poole takes control in match 4 to clinch a 3-1 victory.
Just trying to improve a little things. Our starts were really good, and the comms were just getting better and better each race, and just keep it close. We know we have a good boat speed against everyone so far this event.
Match 4 pits Ian Williams, the 8-time world champion, against 23-year-old Max Paul from Australia. No surprises perhaps, but what follows is simply a masterclass from the British team, who win 3 matches back to back to back and continue in the event with their unbeaten record so far. Match 3 is Gavin Brady of the USA against France's Maxime Maisnil, and he continues his form, taking 2 wins off the experienced US team, taking the contest to a 5th and deciding match. In the pre-start, Brady fails to keep clear and is penalized, handing an edge to the French team. But as the race progresses, Brady draws on all of his experience to create a margin ahead, and by the final windward mark, feels he is clear enough to successfully complete his penalty turn with room to spare.
It was great to come back and win the quarterfinals, and the way we did with a penalty in behind. But it was just a strange one. It was really aggressive, it was shifty, and I just couldn't find a rhythm.
The quarterfinals have shown that experience pays, though Gavin Brady was taken all the way, and it was a tough battle for Chris Poole against the French team skippered by Courtois. With the wind staying around 10 to 12 knots, the race committee pushes straight into the semifinal matches on this penultimate day of the event. And now it's Williams facing Poole, while Brady is paired against Egnoch-Johnson. What a lineup for the semifinals of the Macao Match Cup. In the first semifinal match between Williams and Poole, Ian sails away from them off the start, leaving the American team behind, having taken the right side of the course, and judges the wind shifts perfectly, rounding the windward mark with a solid lead. The Brits can't be caught on the final turn to the finish line and notch the first of the required 3 wins. Match 2 is almost a repeat, getting ahead of the Americans early on, and despite a huge effort to close the gap through the race, Williams draws on his experience to keep them behind on the downward run, and in the dying breeze and fading light, holds off their challenges to take a 2-0 overnight lead into the final day. Meanwhile, in the second semifinal match, the 2022 World Match Racing Tour champion Nick Egnoch-Johnson from New Zealand manages to wrestle the upper hand in both of their races against former America's Cup skipper Brady, finishing both with room to spare in the evening breeze. That leaves both contests poised at match point in the first 3-win series. It's the final day of the 2025 Macao Match Cup, and there's a fresh breeze greeting the teams in what is a do-or-die situation for both Gavin Brady's and Chris Poole's teams, who are on the back foot as they head onto the water. Straight into Flight 3 of the semifinals, and the Kiwis continue where they finished yesterday, not putting a foot wrong around the racetrack. Brady and his team give it their all, but this time they can't live with the Kiwis upwind, leaving Brady with a stern view of EJ as they try to close the gap on the final run to the finish. Jibe after jibe as they try to block the wind of the leading boat and jibe off to find fresh air. But EJ's team are up to the challenge, and the Kiwis secured their third straight win to advance to the final.
It could have gone either way, but you know, the boys did a great job of calling in a right-hand shift. Props to Gavin and his team. Even though the results don't show it, they've sailed an amazing semi-finals, and it actually has been quite tight.
Into the third match of Williams versus Poole, and Ian takes the right side of the course off the start line, leaving the U.S. team behind once again. By the final mark, they have an unassailable lead, and Ian steers the team home with a 100-meter lead and continues his remarkable 100% unbeaten record in the event so far, with an incredible 17 out of 17 wins.
It was a tight start. We were pretty happy with where we were, but Chris got a nice lefty, and fortunately we just got a piece of him as we came across on starboard and were able to control after that. So really pleased to have got through the semi-finals against Chris Poole and looking forward to a good final.
So this is now a repeat of the recent World Match Racing Championship final held in Shenzhen just a few weeks earlier, with Ian Williams facing off against Nick Egnott Johnson, and with a $30,000 first prize waiting for the winner. Match 1 of the final, and in the pre-start sequence of 4 minutes, there's intense maneuvering between the two, looking for an advantage. But Williams comes in hot at the start gun and wins his desired right side of the course. On board, he meticulously carves out a lead around the track in a now solid breeze, rounding the final mark with almost a 20-second lead over EJ and his team. There's no catching the Brits downwind now, a team that have honed their skills to obvious perfection over the years. EJ and his team grew up watching Williams' videos when they were younger, and once again, they can only look at the British team cruise home with a 100-meter lead.
A bit out of position actually in the pre-start. He did a nice job. I thought we were in quite a bit of trouble, but the guys did a great job on the wind up into the start, and that we've got the jump on him there, and that's what really I think decided the race. We had a slightly nervous moment around the bottom mark where the jib halyard came uncleated. We had to wind it back up again. But I think we're sailing pretty fast, and so that often gets you out of trouble. So hopefully we can continue that.
Match 2 of the final. And in the closing seconds of the approach to the start line, EJ is looking to lead over, but is suddenly hit from behind, as Williams tries to go for the hook on him, but appears to have overdone it and is riding up EJ's stern. Blue flag. Williams is penalized. That was just too aggressive, and now Nick has the advantage. But around the racetrack, Ian gets ahead, and so once again draws on his game book to slow down on the final run downwind and look for an offsetting penalty on his opponent. He tries to trap EJ into a mistake, jibing and blocking his way to the finish line, taking the Kiwis wider and wider away from the line. It's classic match race tactics once again, but this time EJ and his team are up to the task and find their way through. And as the distance to the finish line closes, they shake free.
Hey, come on, come on! Come on!
There's just a couple of meters between them, and despite the shouting and protest, they tie the score with 1 win each. Finally, Williams' incredible unbeaten run in Macau has ended.
There was a penalty in the pre-start which actually decided the outcome of the race. When you're going for a hook on someone, basically you have to give the other boat room and time to keep clear. And I think the umpires ruled it that he was coming in a little bit too aggressive, so penalty on him. But they did a really good job of picking some shifts around the course, and they got in front. But you know, we just wanted to hang in there and stay close enough so that he can't do his penalty. And yeah, it made for a really tight and exciting final run. So yeah, enjoyed it, and guys are sailing well, but so are they. So.
Match 3, and there's plenty of action in the pre-start. As approaching the crucial final push for the start line advantage, this time EJ tacks round on the starboard below the committee boat and forces Ian to tack off. They're super close, but EJ secures the right side as the starting horn sounds. Upwind, the Kiwis hold the right, with both teams even, and after close tacking, EJ rounds the windward mark with less than 2 meters between them.
soaking down. Coming up one.
Good spinnaker sets on both teams. Can EJ stay ahead? Williams jibes off, looking to cover the leader, and it's neck and neck all the way downwind. On the leeward gate, too, there's barely anything in this match as they round up on different sides. But again, reading the wind shifts perfectly through leg 3, Ian and his team have somehow forged a precarious lead. They round mark 3, and they've done it again with a smooth hoist. Bearing off towards the finish line on the final leg, EJ rounds a boat length adrift. And that's a slower hoist, which will cost them. They can't seem to cover the ground between the two yachts, and this match is slipping from their grasp. So that's now a 2-1 advantage to Williams in the final, and is the last chance saloon for EJ and his Knots Racing team. Meanwhile, the petite final has also been completed, and Chris Poole secures third place, winning both of their matches for a 2-0 victory over Gavin Brady. Now into match 4 of the final, and it's all or nothing for the Kiwis. They can't afford a single mistake this time out. In the pre-start, EJ appears to be in control through the 4 minutes, but then Ian fakes to round the committee boat, then ducks out, and EJ goes below, and Ian jibes and looks to hunt down EJ as they run close alongside the committee boat. They both round up. EJ has starboard advantage, and as they come together, there are the protest flags as they look for the advantage here, but the umpires hoist a green flag. No penalty on either team. But approaching the start, perhaps EJ has a slight edge here, as Ian looks for the right off the start, but perhaps the pin end is favored with a wind shift here. Williams tacks over, and EJ has it, and even on starboard, Ian has to duck below and give up the right side. But incredibly, Williams and his crew have done it yet again. On the upwind beat, they've called the shifts, got a lift, and are the first to the windward mark. It's tight. EJ came in hot on the mark, but Ian is there and rounds, less than a boat length between them. Nick protests for room, but the umpires wave it away. Further down the track, Williams is controlling this now as EJ can't jibe due to the overlap, and Williams calls for contact, but no penalties. At the leeward gate, Ian takes the right rounding, and EJ is glued to him as he stays in close cover. However, somehow the British team are just masterful upwind and seem to find the right shift every time. They hold the right side of the track for this second beat and again grind out a margin tacking upwind. Now it's a 4 or 5 boat length lead, and there's a smooth jibe set. No mistakes, and the British team are clear away. The Kiwis are on the back foot now, and they must know it's looking almost impossible for them to close the gap on the British team. It's been a magnificent effort from Nick Egnock-Johnson and his team, reaching back-to-back finals in World Match Racing Tour events. It's another superb exhibition of match race competition from Ian Williams and his crew. He and his team crossed the line to take consecutive wins on the World Tour while winning the first ever Macao Match Cup. It's a 3-1 victory for him and his team in the final, with 20 match race wins and only 1 loss at this event. What an achievement.
It was very shifty, the conditions out there, and puffy. I thought it felt like a real wrestling match to get control, but you know, the guys did a fantastic job. I think we were always kind of smooth and fast with the trim, and Richard did a great job of calling the shifts, and we were actually able, when we got ahead, we were able to draw away a lot of the time. So yeah, really happy with how the guys performed. Not feeling that great, but yeah, we made it.
Those guys are just sailing, you know, super well, super clinical upwind, picking some good shifts, and it was super hard to beat them. But you know, we're happy we got 1 race off them in the end, so they didn't go undefeated. But yeah, we just really enjoyed it, and hopefully can get back here next year.
The award ceremony is held in the stylish MGM Macau, where the sailors are honored and medals and trophies are awarded. Third place is presented to Chris Poole and his team. And it's another podium for Nick Eggnog Johnson, while the opening event of the 2025 World Match Racing Tour, Ian Williams and his team are presented with the first ever Macao Match Cup trophy and a check for $30,000 US.